So we're going to start off by asking you a couple questions. And our first question is, how is your family?
How is my family? Wow. My family actually is doing really, really well. I'm really excited about that. My daughter is away at college and she's actually having the time of her life. She's got herself a boyfriend who went to Derby.
Nice.
The odds of that are like spooky, right? But I actually taught his younger brother, so that's funny. My son's doing well. Just found out my parents are negative for COVID because they had a neighbor who got it. So all things considered, family's doing really, really well. Thank you for asking. How are you guys doing?
That's great. My family's good right now.
Yeah, everything's good. Okay, the next question we have is, are you married? And if so, how long have you been married?
So I met my wife in 7th and we went to school together. But we didn't talk much. Would have told me that I would have married her in 7th grade, I probably but life works out pretty funny. So we ran into each other in college. We were both receiving the same scholarship at the same school, and she was at the top of the stairs and I was at the bottom of the stairs. And she called my name, and it was like a movie moment. I'm like, I know that voice. And I turned around and went, I don't remember you looking like that. And then we started sharing rides to school, and then we started dating, and then 5 years later we got married. So it's been, let's see, I've known her for 35 years. We got married 25 years ago, so yeah. It's crazy.
Okay, so our next question is, how many kids do you have?
I have 2, as I mentioned before. My daughter's in college, so she's 17. My son is in 9th grade this year. And he just went back to school for the first time in person.
Where does he go to school?
Goes to Mallow Junior High. We live in Utica Community Schools. It's the 2nd largest district in the state. So they have 4 high schools, 9 middle schools, 28 elementaries. So it's kind of a big place. Yeah.
Okay, the next question is kind of the same because you kind of already mentioned it, but like, how old are your kids?
Yeah, I did mention that. So yeah, 18 and 14. Yeah.
Okay, our next question is, how old are they? Wait, do you like your job?
Do I like my job? Oh my gosh. What a great question. Ordinarily, I wouldn't say I like my job. I would say I love my job. I thoroughly enjoy my job. But I'm going to be completely transparent. Right now, our job's a little stressful. I still couldn't imagine doing anything else, even with all this uncertainty going around. Doing things like this with you guys is one of the best things about my job. Is getting a chance to actually talk with students and do things like this, and especially right now in this environment, it's so hard to have these kind of conversations, right? So this is actually like the highlight of my day. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing yet.
Okay. Our next question is, why did you decide to become a teacher?
Oh my gosh. So I could give you the politically correct answer, or I could give you the truth. Which one would you like?
We can do the truth.
Do the truth? Okay. So I'm not even Not even making this, I can't make this kind of stuff up. So I was a junior in high school, and I was in my American history class, and the class was so boring. I hated it so much that I sat there and thought I could do a better job than this. And it really upset me because I love history. I do, I always have. But I remember she had, this is gonna require a visual. So she had a binder, right? Except it was like 5 times this thick. It was like this thick. And all she would do is walk around the room and she like recited from this binder. She had done it for so long, she had it like memorized. And that was class every day. And then we would have a multiple choice quiz on the reading. And then after we did the sections in the book, we'd have a multiple choice unit test that were all based on the quiz questions. And then we'd have a unit test that was all based on the test questions. And then we had the final exam, which was all based on the same questions we'd seen 4 times. So I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. We had a 250 question final exam. I did it in 7 minutes and got 1 wrong. And my friend who ended up going to West Point did it in 6 minutes and got it all right. And we literally, when we took the exam, we looked at each other and went, go. Because it wasn't even, we weren't even reading the questions. We had seen them so many times that we knew them. We knew the choices. We didn't even have to read them. We could just scan them and know the answers. It was such a horrible class. And it actually made me go to the counselor and say, you've got to get me out of this class or I'm going to lose my mind. I said, no wonder why kids hate history, because this is like going to school every day and having somebody hit you in the head with a blunt object for like an hour. That's what it felt like. It was so painful. So, and the worst part was she was a sweet lady. Like outside of school, I got to know her and she was a super lady, but oh, she was a terrible teacher, just terrible. And so that kind of put me on my path to teaching. I was either going to teach or go into acting. And I took a couple theater classes in college, but I quickly realized theater is a really tough gig to get into and be successful. And I was dating my wife, then girlfriend, and if I was going to have a relationship with her, it was going to be really, really hard because everything in theater was like at midnight. Right? So I'd never see her. So yeah, that's my long, boring story about how I got into
Okay, our next question is, what do you like to do for fun?
Oh, wow. It really depends on my mood, but I'm a pretty, I like to think of myself as a fun-loving guy. Doesn't take much to entertain me, which is probably a good thing right now with the way the world's been the last 6 months. But like, I'll give you a quick example. Like one of the things we did during the whole pandemic thing. Oh, that was cool. I taught my kids how to play euchre. So we were doing this. And so with doing that every night, I got a chance to hang out with my family in a way that we normally wouldn't have. And when she was, and this is going to sound horrible, but I'll say it anyway. It was her senior year last year, so she had to miss out on all these great things. But selfishly for me, it was great because I got to spend all this time with her that I normally, like last year, I never would have seen her, like at all. I wouldn't have seen her. So, selfishly, it was neat to spend more time with her. I felt bad for her and all that stuff got canceled, but it was super cool in that regard. So, I mean, I like to play cards. I love music. I miss going to concerts like you wouldn't believe. Oh my.
Concerts are fun.
Oh my gosh, I love concerts. I've been to concerts so long. So there's that. Gosh, what else do I like to do? I like sports. I love sports. I played basketball my whole life. until I broke and I can't play anymore. But I golf, I play softball. I used to play softball until I broke. Yeah, I don't know. I just like being around people. I like doing stuff. I just like hanging out.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, I think I'm becoming antisocial because now I just like to go home and sleep. But I still, like, if you get me out doing stuff, I'll have fun. But like, if you ask me to move and like I'm comfortable, forget it. I'll just pass out. Like today, I'll go home and I'll get in my chair and say, goodbye, Mr. Rock. He's gone. Mr. Rock's gone by night. So that's me in a nutshell. What do you guys do for fun? What have you guys been doing?
Both of us, we both dance at the same studio. Like a lot.
Like how many days a week?
4 usually. We'll usually do like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that.
Yeah, my niece, she was seriously into dance. She danced from like she was 3 years old until she went to U of M, and then at U of M she actually joined the tap crew, and she actually became the choreographer for her last 2 years. So yeah, they used to go and perform around Ann Arbor, Detroit, and stuff. And I, as the loyal uncle, I went to every one of her recitals from when she was 3 until she was 8.
Yeah.
So you guys know how that is. It's like 4 hours of fun, right?
Yeah.
Those recitals. It's like.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was fun to watch her. She was really good.
Okay, our next question is, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Ooh, I like that question. Yeah. I have to pick one spot, just one. Oh man. I would probably say, oh, this is hard. I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. All I hear about is how gorgeous it is, the landscape, being on the ocean, the whole island thing. People are super nice. And I would just follow them around and listen to them talk because I'd like to hear their dialect and accent. I don't know, besides being creepy, I would love that. Because I'd probably look like a creeper following them around. Talk some more, I want to hear you talk. I actually did that when I was 13, when I went to West Virginia. You ever been to West Virginia? It's like hilarious. I went to the mall, we went to dinner, got done early, and so I was walking around the mall and there was, I'll never forget this, there was these 3 kids, right? These 2 girls, kid in the middle, and they're walking through the mall, and this kid goes, yeah, I killed it, Dad. And the girls go, Gall, how'd you do that? And he's like, well, it was a rat, it was this big. I picked up a stick, I killed it, Dad. And I'm like, this is so great. It was like real life movie. And so I followed them around and I was like trying to be like subtle about it because their accent was literally cracking me up. Turn around, I'd be like looking at, oh yeah, I'll buy this book, sure. Yeah. And then I'd keep following. Dad came out, I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, you don't understand. They really talk like this. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, Mrs. Barclay's here. Should we let her in?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll let Mrs. Barclay in. It's so suspenseful waiting for people to join us.
Hi guys.
Hi, Mrs. Barclay. This is like the first time.
Nothing like a last minute meeting, like 10 minutes before it's happening.
I'm not kidding. I think this is the first time we've talked all year, Mrs. Barclay, isn't it?
Not in like the hallway randomly, like.
Oh yeah, like hey. And then we have masks on, so we don't recognize each other. It's weird.
Yeah.
So we have 2 more questions for
And
Mr. Auten, and then we can do Miss Barclay.
Okay, so our next question for you is, what have you like always wanted to do? Like it could be like skydiving, like any activity.
What have I always wanted to do? That's a really good question. So I've always wanted, this is gonna sound really corny, but I've always wanted to work at Cedar Point on the Millennium Force. Just so I can have the microphone, say whatever came into my mind. Now I wouldn't want to do that like forever, but for like one night, that would be like so much fun.
Yeah.
And they come back in the middle of the night, you know, and it gets dark and hit the kids in the face. You know, I'd be like, so how'd that ride taste? Right? And you could just do all these terrible one-liners.
Yeah.
And people would just look at you like you're nuts, and that would be fun for me. So yeah, that's something I've always wanted to do. Please say that.
Okay, and our last question is, what do you see yourself doing in 10 years?
Probably this, teaching, probably going to my daughter's wedding. Hopefully having my son out of the house. I could see those things. I could definitely see those things. But definitely doing this. If I have my way, I'll be retiring here at Derby at some point. So yeah.
That's our last question for you, so we can do Miss Barclay now.
Should I just be like a silent observer through this?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, Ella.
Our first question for you, Ms. Barclay, is how is your family?
How is my family? My family's good. I have a daughter named Luna, and she's 10 months old. And I also have a golden retriever, Guster, and he is huge, 100-pound dog. And my husband, Zach. But we're good.
Great.
Okay, our next question is, you said a little bit about it, but are you married, and if so, how long?
I am married, and we have been married for 6 years. And we got married at MSU because we're Spartans, go green. But yeah, 6 years.
How many kids do you have?
As a kid too, so I guess 2, but like 1 human child.
Yeah.
Okay, our next question is, you already basically answered this, but how old are your kids?
Luna is 10 months old and Guster is 6 years old. We got him the day after we got married. Would not recommend that.
Okay, our next question is, do you like your job?
I love my job. Teaching at Derby is my dream job. I have had a lot of different jobs, but being a middle school band director is the reason why, like, I went to college. That was my goal.
Our next question is, why did you decide to become a band teacher?
I always really liked music growing up. When I was in elementary school, I always did all the choirs, and I sang at my church, and I was in musicals. And then as I got older, I was in band and orchestra, and I was just really good at it. You know, as I got older, I was involved in more and more things, and it just was kind of like a natural thing for me. When I was a senior in high school, it was kind of like, well, obviously I'm going to study music because I'm really good at it, and I really like it, and I really like people, and I really like kids. So all of those things kind of combined together, it's the perfect job for me.
Okay, what do you like to do for fun?
For fun, well, it depends. If this sounds awful, but if Luna's around, then we really enjoy going to the park right now. She just went, started learning how to swing and to like slide and stuff. So she likes going for walks, and we like walk. We have a couple parks by us, so we go to different parks. But if Luna is not around, I really enjoy strolling through Target. And COVID has messed that up for me, because my favorite thing to do on after school, when I was like stressed out and I had a bad day, I'd go to Starbucks and I'd get like my favorite drink and walk around Target, and whatever ended up in my cart. But now you can't really like drink your coffee with your mask on, but I can still stroll Target. So that's probably my favorite guilty pleasure.
That's fun. Our next question is, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
if I could go anywhere in the world, like right now, where would I go? We were supposed to go to Italy this summer, and I was also supposed to do like a study abroad with my master's program, and it all got canceled. So I think I would definitely be going to Italy and eating some yummy foods and traveling and seeing the world.
Okay, what have you always wanted to do?
I knew this question was coming, so I was trying to think, what have I always wanted to do? It kind of goes with the traveling to Italy, but I've always really wanted to go and visit every continent. I've been to Europe and clearly North America, but I've always thought it would be really cool that, like, to say, you know, eventually that I've been to all of the continents.
And our last question is, what do you see yourself doing in 10 years?
I plan to be at Derby. Luna will be 10 years old, so she'll be like on her way to middle school, which is crazy. And who knows what'll be happening at the time, but definitely plan to be just teaching band at Derby. And
More dogs?
probably another golden retriever at some point. Maybe another baby at some point. See.
I won't spread any rumors, I
Thanks,
promise.
Mr. Auten.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, well that concludes our broadcasting interview with you guys. Thank you so much for coming. It was such a pleasure to interview you guys.
Yes, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for being flexible with my crazy schedule. Appreciate it, and Ella.
Yes, thank you, ladies. It was good seeing you, Mrs.
Have a great
Barclay.
weekend.
Bye, Mr. Auten. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.